Poems by Maya Angelou. Where do I start with this woman? She is a phenomenal woman, a woman that has been writing poems and creating poems since many, many years. She's a famous poet, one that probably everyone knows about. Maya Angelou was actually introduced to me in fifth grade by my fifth grade English teacher. We read a lot about her personal life. We read many of her poems. And also one of the novels that was written called Why Does the Cage Bird Sing? So therefore, when one of the assignments that we had to do for the class was about a poet collage, I decided to do mine representing the famous poem, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. And just to give you a couple of stanzas from this poem, you can pretty much see the emotions behind the words, because Maya Angelou was one to write many of her poems based upon her personal life as well as the struggles and events that happen within the nation, in particular with African Americans. The first three stanzas goes as follows. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downhill to the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings to a fearful thrill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. Again, this poem means a lot to me because it just depicts what was what it was back in slavery times, or just based on racism for African Americans. It kind of just tells the story of your physical appearance can be caged and barred. However, your mind and your voice cannot. So that is why I pretty much use this poem to do my collage on. So after I decided and narrowed down the poem that I wanted to use, I went to YouTube and found clip images that I thought would represent it well. A couple of the images that I decided to use were of birds, cages, and many other things. The first one that I thought about using had to do with this bird cage. Makes sense. Use the bird cage and mask images inside of it. However, it didn't work out best. As I said, Mr. Glimp and I are not the best of friends. And trying to layer it with other things inside the cage, and then trying to use the eraser to mask out the background, it just didn't work at all for me. So what I did was, instead of using the bird cage, I decided to use bars. And here's the bars that I decided to use. After maximizing that, it was a better way for me to layer that with other things. So what I did was, once I did that, I went in and I found an image of a praying woman. The woman, let's see if I can get her. This praying woman to me said a lot, because it shows one of age, of wisdom, of experience, and kind of caged to me. But again, you can definitely bound and tie up the physical, but when it comes to your spirituality, which to me this says a lot, as well as your voice, that cannot be caged at all. So I used her inside of the bars that I showed you, the bars that's right here. And then I wanted to layer it with a couple of more things. I had first thought about doing it with this cross, but it didn't work out at all. I didn't think it was good. So I did use a bird that was flying, as well as some symbols of music notes. Kind of thought that that was a good thing to do because, again, it kind of tells the story of the title. After everything was said and done, here was the end result of my collage, and I think it worked out pretty good, and that was the end result. So as you see, here were the bars that I showed you, the woman, praying woman behind it. Here I like the bars because it had this opening, not too open for her physical to come out of, but again, everything that's external, I mean internal, your spirit, your voice, and it just shows the music notes, and the bird, or to me, this is the spirit within that can fly and soar, and that cannot be caged. So that was what I used for my poetry screencast, my poetry collage. I hope you enjoyed it.